Okay, guys, alternate ending. Take 43.
With so many movies on the net and TV, it's kind of hard being up and film savvy. Do you catch a show while you're on the go? And how do you know what to keep or what to throw? How do you know what to keep or what to throw? Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Now! Please give a warm welcome to the hosts of Alternate Ending.
Welcome to Alternating. We're discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I'm film school dropout Robert Jarasinski. Across from me is our casual moviegoer, Carrie Jarasinski, and our very own critic in residence, Tim Brayton. Star Wars is out, guys.
Star Wars is out. Star Wars has had the second highest opening weekend in the history of North American box office. And so we're going to talk some more Star Wars.
So that's pretty good. Yeah, last episode we dedicated it to the original trilogy, which Carrie you hadn't seen.
I hadn't, and now you
have,
and then
now I have,
and you were looking forward to seeing more.
I was
of the
eager.
Universe.
You were all about the Star Trek mythos at this point.
So you mean Star Wars?
Yes. I'm very tired.
I was going to say that you were mocking me. Yeah, and then I was really revved up for these because I thought it could only get better from here. And then...
As were a lot of people in 1997, right?
I don't think a lot of people were necessarily precisely there.
No? You weren't... I can't...
It can only get better from here was not necessarily the hype.
Okay. I just remember a lot of people excited, cautiously optimistic.
Oh, no, there was excitement, there was hype, but I think that hype was not centered on... Surely there has to be a better Star Wars film than the three we have, which I think is what Carrie is.
But I think it was probably like, oh, we can take all this new technology, all this new stuff that we can do, and how can we continue
That was happening.
Yeah.
What can we do with new technology was a big part of what's going on.
It was there. I definitely
So
feel
it's
that.
a great way to close out the year, not only with Star Wars, but we're closing out our podcast for the year.
We're about to take a Christmas break.
Or we have one more after this?
No, we're shutting it down. We're shutting everything down.
We are blowing up the website. We are becoming survivalists in Oregon. We're going to start growing hemp and selling it.
You got the beard going for it.
Got the beard going.
No, we're going to take some time off. We've done 47 now, 47 episodes, 47 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
That's many weeks.
If you would have asked me that
number of weeks.
at the start, I would have told you there was no way we would be able to do it. Some of us off and on, I think we each had at least one.
I only missed one.
You only yes.
Oh, and I missed it.
You missed it.
Missed it
for the right reasons.
Real good.
Yeah, that's right. You wouldn't want to be here. It wouldn't have been good.
So no, we're taking the time off to focus a little bit on strategy, bring more things back to our audience.
Is that what we're supposed to do? Because I was literally just going to take the time off to eat cheesecake and sleep.
Oh, there'll be time for that as well.
Okay, good.
We're going to
take some time, look at the site, make some site improvements, do some more things on the podcast, sleep
and cheesecake.
Before we get into the new year, I made a commitment of seeing 200 movies, and I thought I'd check in to see where we are. We have, by the time this podcast airs, 14 days or so left in December.
Yep.
I'm only at 183 movies.
Yeah, that's doable. That's one a day plus, a couple extra on the weekends.
I have kids, man.
How many did you say?
Watch your movies with your children.
183, and I
didn't say what those movies had to be. You can watch yourself. We just were having a conversation earlier, Rob and I, about how he's only seen one of the 4 Alvin and the Chipmunks movies. So that's true. There, that's 3 movies.
Yeah, actually, the holiday time is a good time to catch up on movies. You don't want to talk to people, so you're like, you know what? I really got to catch this flick. Yep. And I can use the podcast as the excuse.
You totally can. Yeah. You can say that
this is good.
That you will lose subscribers if you don't watch 17 movies by January 1st.
Yeah, it's our job. Do you know where you're at? I say that laughingly.
141.
Are you really?
I think so.
Why do you think? Why?
I'm pretty confident in that number.
How did you arrive at your calculation?
I arrived at that number through tracking it weekly and putting it in a spreadsheet and making sure that I keep it updated.
That number passes the smell test because it's just a hair under 3 per week, and I feel like every week, more or less, you bring 2 or 3 films that you've seen.
Yeah, so it's also 47 times 3, which is why I arrived at that number.
It still passes the smell test.
Still passes. How many have you seen, Tim?
I have seen more than that. So I got to ask, just when you guys are quantifying your year-end list, how do you make decisions? Do you count short films or not?
I haven't seen one.
Likewise, I wouldn't even know.
I watched that terrible one about death with those little scribbly people that you made me watch.
Choose your words carefully.
And that I didn't even count. 142.
All right, so you watched the best film of the 2010s, which was World of Tomorrow. It's a great movie.
That one.
And I happen to know you both saw the Olaf show.
Oh, I didn't count that
That's a short film.
Okay,
it aired. It was in a theater. It counts to me.
143.
Feature length. I'm sticking with feature length. 183 to date.
Well, so if we're going to say only feature films, that cuts my number down a bit. The second part, do you count movies if you'd seen them previously, or do you only count things you saw for the first time?
I count them. You can watch them many times.
I've been counting repeat viewings.
All right. Well, if we're counting repeat viewings of feature films only,
I need all the numbers I can get to my 200.
It's a lot of data.
I'm at 381.
What the what?
Which is a soft year for me. It's only if we only count the ones I had never seen before, it's only 277.
Yeah.
That's an embarrassing number.
That's really bad.
I think you also mentioned that you
That's not even an average of one new movie a day.
Yeah, you should drop out of school with
I'm tempted seriously to see if I can get another student to take over for me so we can have a real movie expert on this podcast.
That makes sense to me.
You had another ambition to try to see 52 women.
52 films by women.
How's that going?
I'm at 37. And unlike you, I hear 14 days left and 15 movies to see. And I'm like, oh, that's doable. That's totally, I nail that.
I don't get all those lady films done, too.
I do have to. So to get to this point, 37, I have so far not made an effort at all. I've only counted, I'm only seeing movies that I would have seen anyway in the natural course of things, because I wanted to see how far I could get and still see X number of films by women. It's going to be the case that if I want to hit 52, I'm going to have to watch movies because a woman directed them. But I think, 37 is a very low number, and I and society as a whole should be ashamed of it. But yeah, so I'm going to make that happen before the year's end.
Represent us well. I have not broken it up by female director, male director. So you're representing our attempt at gender.
In what way is my attempt to watch movies by women representing you, Robert?
You're doing it on behalf of us.
Rob wishes he was doing that.
Yes, I want to be doing that too, but I'm going to just watch as many movies as I can to hit my 200 number.
Well, if all 17 of them are by women, then you're onto something.
Maybe all 183 of mine. I need to go to the data.
Yes.
And we'll recap that. It's a little bit of a cliffhanger, if you will, to get you listening back when we get back. I don't remember our date back. It's a Monday, January.
It's going to be in January.
Late January.
I want to say January. It's not the 27th because I think that's a Saturday. I think it's the Monday after that, so that would make it the 29th.
29th sounds right.
So it's going to be right after the Oscar nominations are announced. So we're going to come back, talk about those. Talk about our favorite films of the year. It'll be right around the same time that I publish my text version of my year in review.
Do we have to do that thing again where we write our picks and then
sure do.
people maul us
and
online?
our reasons why?
Sure do.
Oh, good.
Not well received the first time. People still getting familiar with
I think
with our dynamic.
People were not at that point aware of what the thing was going to be.
They thought that we actually, Carrie and I knew what we were talking about.
You were right. It wasn't you. It wasn't you.
That's apparently not the case.
Everybody was like, can we get these other people off this blog post? Because this is the worst. They obviously don't know anything about movies.
I will probably offer a real people blog post and a not real people blog post.
I think that's an excellent idea.
So
we should have done that last year.
You do not have to poison the Oscar predictions for those who do not want to.
That's a good idea.
That's
a good idea.
Happen.
Well, until then, let's actually talk about some of the movies we've watched and are worth mentioning. What is the worth mentioning segment of the movies we've seen since the last episode? Which are the ones we want to talk about most? They could be great movies. They could be terrible. We share them either way. Care? What'd you end up watching this past week?
So I saw 4 movies. I saw the prequel trilogy, Phantom, Attack, and Revenge, and then I saw Odd Man Out.
Yeah, Patreon subscriber. Patrick Scott assigned that to us.
Nice.
Yeah, so we watched that, and it's an oldie but a goodie.
It is an
1947.
oldie but a terrific motion picture, 70 years young.
70 years young, and rather than butcher what it's about, does anyone want to talk about it?
Sure.
What it's about?
No, it's about a wounded Irish nationalist, part of the IRA, wants to get his investment retirement account all set up.
Yeah. Did he go Roth or traditional?
He went 401k.
Oh, okay. That's actually the way to go.
I don't know why you haven't died yet. I've been staring at you hard enough for you to
I was trying to avoid eye contact. Wounded Irish nationalist leader attempts to evade police following a failed robbery in Belfast. That's kind of the setup.
Yeah, so it's
injured early, and it's his struggle to try to get to safety.
And not just any wounded Irish national, an Irish national played by James Mason.
Yes.
Who is
Is he in other things?
He is in so many other things.
So many?
He's so good.
Third Man?
He's not in The Third Man, although same director, Carol Reed, made both this and The Third Man, among many other excellent movies and some less excellent movies. But no, Carol Reed's great. This is one of my favorite Carol Reed films, probably. This is my third after The Third Man and Our Man in Havana, I would probably say.
Introduced us to The Third Man, which we really enjoyed.
Because it's a good damn movie.
Can you give me a teeny bit of history? I know Rob just did a little plot summary. A teeny bit of history on what was going on in that time that was like the setup of this movie?
Yes.
Good.
The Irish did not care for the English.
Okay.
And hold on. Well, this is what...
Oh, you wanted more of a tiny bit.
Oh, yeah. That was
but
it.
But on that one, James Mason is an Englishman.
Yeah.
Is he not?
Well, it's an English movie.
Right.
It's a movie sympathetic to the Irish struggle. So Ireland was going through and sort of remains going through, although with much less violence, the question of whether or not Ireland should be an entire united island free of influence from England and the United Kingdom. It was, a period that dominated the 20th century. A lot of political violence, a lot of acts of terror, a lot of resistance to, an occupying force basically on their island. So it's, far beyond, I think, a quick little podcast thing to talk about, but basically the English controlled Northern Ireland, including Belfast, and the Irish Catholics believed that Ireland should be whole and one nation. The Southern Irish, which was where the bulk of the Catholic population lived. So that's basically that stretched over about 110 years is the contemporary history of Ireland. And this is just part of that, the troubles in which the Irish freedom fighters were trying to push the English off the island.
So, did you know, honestly, did you know anything about the IRA? And I'll be honest too, is
the Irish Republican Army,
Irish
not
Republican Army.
The whatever.
The only reason I know about it, all my knowledge in life and in history is based because of movie. No, because of movies.
You were going to say Patriot Games.
I was going to say Blown Away.
Which is even worse than Patriot Games.
It's even worse. I can't remember which one predates, so I don't know where my knowledge of...
I think Patriot Games is older.
There's also a Brad Pitt movie where I believe...
The Devil's Own.
The Devil's Own. That is the only
Brad Pitt has the worst of the Irish accents I've ever heard in a movie.
That was a good one.
Those are the only reasons I know about the IRA. So I will not, I will not judge you for not, but I'm curious, as our representative, as the casual moviegoer, did you know about the IRA?
That's not even movie-going. That's just historical knowledge.
It's historical knowledge,
But
right.
no, I did not know. Yeah. I did not.
Yeah. What about The Crying Game? That's about the IRA.
I have not seen The Crying Game.
The Crying Game is better than you probably think it is if you, like me, assumed that it was about nothing but its twist.
Mm-hmm. Carrie doesn't know the twist.
The twist is a fairly modest thing about The Crying Game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can we go back to this movie that we were actually talking about?
Oh, yes.
But here's what I would like you to do. Tim, Rob's explanation was very poor of this movie. Can you actually give a 1-minute summary of this movie that's a little bit more expansive than the one sentence? There's a lot more to it than he said.
There's more to it than that, but I think his gets at it. So
but there's a love story in this too. You didn't get at that.
There is a love story.
Yeah. He's trying to get
So Johnny McQueen, played by James Mason, has been hiding in the house of Kathleen Sullivan.
So what's their thing?
She loves him.
Well, no, but he doesn't. Okay, so
he's a resistance.
But why is
fighter.
Why
he
is
doesn't
she
have the
hiding? Why does she hide him? What's her?
Because the British want him dead.
But I mean, they don't have a romantic relationship in the beginning. They're just friends. So what's her upside for hiding him there?
National pride.
Oh, okay.
The that's why it's important to know the context of this, because the idea of national identity driving people's behaviors is you need it to understand what's going on.
And that's why I think just the movie on it in its own right is, I feel like a great movie without knowing the background, the tension, especially the editing in this particular film.
God, the editing
for the time, I really try to take myself out of the modern.
I don't think you need to do that. I think you can compare this against any film released in 2017, and this has better editing.
Yeah, I thought it was really nice, and the dialogue is really great. A lot of the the lines that he's injured, he's mortally possibly wounded right at the beginning.
This guy's part of the bank heist, and then he gets
trying
shot in the shoulder.
I think he's ordered to raise money for the IRA.
He needs to raise money for the. It's never called the IRA.
Right.
I think for legal reasons, it's always like just whatever organization. So he gets shot right after this robbery. Spends the rest of the movie trying to find a safe haven, both for himself and for the money. And
there's an important nuance, though. When he gets shot, he also shoots somebody else himself, and he's really worried about that.
Yes.
And so that, I think, is like a character thing for him, where it's like you're meant to believe like he would have really huge guilt if he were to have hurt somebody. Like he's not a bad guy.
No, he's not. He's he wants to be a good man. He wants to be a moral man. He believes what he's doing is the moral thing to do. But so that's going on as an undercurrent, and the film is basically like, will he find shelter given all of the, like, he's a political hot potato, so everyone knows that they'll be, seriously in trouble if they are kind to him, and so that sort of is the undercurrent of what happens over his very bad night while he's just trying to find some place that will give him.
And that's where the movie takes it, kind of goes back and forth to different sets or settings where he goes and tries to find that shelter and runs into different characters. I really liked the movie quite a bit, which I go into every movie a little bit where it's black and white, an older movie where
either one of you
I really liked it.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Particularly the ending.
The ending's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And the words, the dialogue that's there too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's not much to it though. It's not like, all right, I take that back. There's probably more to it if, like you said, you knew some of the historical context to it too. But now that I know that, it adds a little bit.
Well, now you need to rewatch it.
I know I need to rewatch it. I know. It was really tense, and it was really good. And you find yourself you're not sure who you're rooting for.
Right.
Because there's the police element that's there too. And
I'm rooting for James
I'm content.
Mason.
I will tip my hand. I'm pro IRA in life, and I was totally rooting for James Mason.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, I think that there is that. I mean, he did shoot a guy.
But the cops weren't. I wish the cops were maybe meaner. They make you. I was fine with James Mason winning or whatever, but. Yeah, I won't spoil how this ends either, because I think
it ends with
him
winning an unambiguous victory and everyone's happy.
No, that would be better. No, so if you do like these sort of old film noir type movies, I know that's a loosely
I mean,
used word.
I don't think you can call any film a film noir if it wasn't made in America, but that's certainly a contentious.
It's like
point.
noirish.
It has all of the bits and pieces it needs to be noir, except that it was funded in Great Britain.
But if you haven't seen this and you like a movie like The Third Man, or you like a movie like, what else? Casablanca?
Sure.
But you love this.
There's so many good. Yeah. So if you like a movie like Mrs. Miniver or King Kong or Citizen Kane, you might very well like
also like this. So we appreciate it. I really
thanks a lot,
enjoyed
Patrick.
it.
And I know Tim, you had told me in the car too, is why are people wasting good movies on us? But this is why keep taking chances with Carrie and I.
Sometimes
every
it'll
once
actually
in a while.
pan
There
out.
was a love story in this one that really got me hooked, sort of towards the middle and end, and then it was
nice.
Tim, what did you end up watching?
Well, I saw multiple films this week. One of them was this new release. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of the title. Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah, that was good.
So I saw the Star Wars, and I have thoughts.
All right, give us your.
No, I think that the thoughts will keep. I'm going to be publishing my review late Monday.
Oh, okay.
My thoughts are not the group consensus thoughts. Let us put it that way.
What is it? 93?
93% on Rotten Tomatoes. A lot of people calling it among the best, maybe even the best Star Wars film. I don't agree. And that is all I will say about that at this moment. The movie I do want to talk about, because I really want to give it some love, because it's magnificent and everyone needs to see it. A wonderful, wonderful documentary that I watched this week, directed by the phenomenal, beautiful, life-affirming French filmmaker Agnès Varda, who is 88 years old, and God bless that she will be with us for many years to come, and the French street artist J.R. The movie is called Faces, Places.
I read your review.
And it's a film about how Varda, who is, a legend of French filmmaking, born in Belgium to a Greek father, spent most of her career in the Paris area, has been, for most of the 21st century, in addition to making these wonderful little humane documentaries about sort of her life and how she thinks about her place in the world, has also been doing a lot of installation art. And JR, of course, being a street artist, does almost exclusively installation pieces. So they decided to team up and do this fun little cross-country trek where they would take photographs of people and use the enlarging equipment in JR's like fanciful, whimsical camera-shaped van to create huge blow-ups of all of these photographs of people's faces, hence part of the title. And they would plaster those photos all over buildings or water towers, or in one case, like a large pile of shipping crates, just any surface that seems to be connected to the person whose photograph they want to post. And that would be the places. So just like they go across the rural parts of France doing this fun thing where they take photographs of locals, showing their photos like on the sides of buildings and such. And along the way, it sort of transforms from this very playful, pleasant documentary about everyone needs to be seen, everyone needs to have their portrait, everybody should be monumental artwork. It turns into this little lovely thing where Varda starts to reflect on the fact that she's 88 and she's old and her eyesight is fading. And how does she conceive of herself as an artist while still, you know, confronting the fact that she is not going to be alive much longer.
Oh, she's only 88.
You know, she's not going to be alive for like another 40 years.
I mean, at least 12 to 15.
Hopefully.
The Carrie side of the family lives well beyond into their hundreds.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Drink your wine.
So what you're
Drink your
saying is
wine.
that we can be podcasting 70 years from now.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
You
My
will have
family does
lost
not
your-
live into the hundreds. So
Really?
it might, yes.
What can we look forward to having you on the podcast for? then?
Oh, I'd say a good another 30, 40 years.
Okay.
For sure.
That's about where I'm at too.
That's rough. I know.
You'll need to find- you'll need
you're
to have
already
some
one
backups.
kidney
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Maybe 20 years. for you.
But so it just turns into this really excellent like study of these two characters, because basically what comes through is that Varda feels young, Varda wishes to be young, and JR is young and has this really youthful energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so combined, they like form this unit that is all of Varda's lifetime of artistic insight mixed with JR's like youthful
Fresh
brashness.
perspective.
And it's so lovely. It's the first 5-star movie I've seen this year.
That's what
Only
I was gonna just say that. So you gave it 5 stars. What
Wow.
pushes it to 5 stars?
It made me feel more optimism and warmth and hope than any other piece of art I've engaged with
That's
this
like
year.
6 stars, I think.
We don't have a 6-star
Oh,
scale.
okay. I was gonna say that takes a lot to push you into
So
that.
you got a lot of something new out of this that you haven't, because I know that's a criteria for you.
I got
seeing,
some
like-
new. I
yeah.
mean, it's very much of a piece with Varda's other work. She's done 2 other documentaries basically about herself this century. One is The Gleaner's and I from 2000. One is The Beaches of Agnes from 2008. And I think it's not as good as either of those, but it's still, what it's doing is very wonderful. And it has an ending that I will not describe, but if you have any affection for French cinema, and if you do, you wouldn't see this movie if you don't. It brings in the work of Jean-Luc Godard in a way that's really fascinating, and I think gets in a fascinating, wonderful, important way about how Varda and Godard, who are kind of the last 2 living French filmmakers of that generation, how their different worldviews are like these profound chasms that complement each other. And it's a wonderful film. It's so
people
good.
and places.
Faces.
Places.
Dang it.
There are people in there.
Faces
There are
and
people.
places.
The faces belong
I was
to people.
doing it for listeners, so faces and places.
Faces, places. No
Tim's
and.
first
Faces,
5-star
places.
movie of
Visage
2017.
Village.
And where do you get it?
You need to be lucky enough to be in a city where it hasn't played yet, or you need to be a critic who gets year-end screeners, which is how I saw it. It should be on DVD before too far into 2018.
And it'll be up for something probably.
It's
at the
currently it's on the short film the 15 film shortlist for documentaries at the Oscars. I think it would be a scandal if it did not get into the
Okay.
top 5. Whether it wins, who's to say? Varda herself did already receive a Lifetime Achievement Award last month, so she will be recognized at the Oscars in that respect, but hopefully she also wins this competitive award, because my
Cool.
God, it's good.
Well, it's my turn, right?
Oh, I thought you
Oh
just
no,
did Odd Man
I've seen
Out.
5. I've seen 5. Karen.
Oh,
while you were out.
Where was I?
I don't know where you were, but it was a Friday night movie night.
tending to the children that you have both brought into this world and should in theory both be caring for.
I was tending to the children. We picked up a movie.
Oh, it was a funeral,
Oh,
man.
yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Representing her family.
Way to make her feel
forgot.
terrible.
I didn't forget, but I forgot.
Thanks.
I forgot the reasons why you were gone. We were at the Red Box picking up our pizza at the local grocery mart. We'd like to do the take and bake, and was perusing.
Everything you just said makes me want to run you over with a tank.
I was saying, what's a family movie we haven't seen? And it was the 3rd installment featuring a McQueen. Back to our Odd Man Out. But it's Lightning
Dusty
McQueen.
McQueen?
Not Dusty McQueen. Dusty
Oh.
Crop Hopper.
Oh, right.
It's a different.
Cars the Third.
We have not seen the Jarsinski family's not seen Cars the Third, so we picked that up, and yeah, it was all right.
Cars?
Cute.
It was all right.
It's better than Cars 2.
It's better than Cars 2. There's a character arc. Although I do like spy movies, so while there is no character arc in that particular one.
If Cars 2 is just a spy movie, I'd like it. It's a spy movie about a fucking tow truck played by Larry the Cable Guy.
That's
very
right.
bad.
So this was an improvement. This had a lot more heart. The kids seem to like it okay. Abby's just a little worried around. Obviously, it's about an aging Lightning McQueen.
She has a death thing now?
Well, she always has the death thing, but it's realized when...
The scene where they crush Lightning McQueen and you just see his engine block like oozing oil all over the ground, that must have really been upsetting for her.
It was sad.
Did she cry?
No. She hit her face when Lightning McQueen crashes kind of in the first act.
Okay.
It's a little bit... what's the Tom Cruise movie with Dave?
Eyes Wide Shut.
Nah, not
Top Gun.
Magnolia.
No, the race car.
Vanilla
Sky. Race car.
Oh.
Days of
Thunder. Thank you.
You're so close.
It's basically Days of Thunder.
It's basically Days of Thunder.
It's Days of Thunder, except rather than...
it's basically Creed.
It's Creed as well. It is Creed.
It's totally Creed.
It is Creed.
It's not as good as Creed.
It's worth it for the kids. I mean, if you're an adult and you're looking to get something out of it, there are some touching moments, I suppose. But yeah, it's still one of Pixar's worst movies.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's pretty.
Why
weak.
do they keep putting them out if they
make a lot
crappy?
of money in toys?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, in toys.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's race car driver. There's a big love of NASCAR.
Cars does the best of merchandise of any Pixar franchise.
Interesting.
Short but sweet, but want to at least share my thoughts on Cars 3. Remember, you can find more details about all the movies we've watched at our website, alternateending.com. That's alternateending.com. Before we head to our break, you might be wondering about ways to support the show. If you want access to exclusive content, make us watch a movie, pick your own episode topic, you can do it all from our Patreon page, much like our newest Patreon, Taylor Black, who snagged us
off. It's like, I'm going to give you money because you're bad people.
Our last remaining Critics' Choice Award.
What movie did he get?
He asked for, or he or she asked for Perfect Blue.
Have you seen that?
I have. It's a great movie.
Oh, and now I want to hear your review.
And that is our last. They snagged our last Tim review. So
okay.
That's it.
We also have Tim reviews attached to like the very pricey one. The Oscar winner.
Is it? You got to go for it.
Yeah, if you really want to review, you can spend all the money on the Oscar winner category.
What do you have to do? What do you get out of that?
You also get a Robin Carrie.
Oh, they don't want that.
And you pick your own episode topic?
And you get an episode topic.
Oh, that's a good deal.
It's a platinum package.
And I will say, last week we talked about how Patreon was revising their rules, very unpopular, sort of making it harder on donators, quote unquote, to make it easier on creators. Patreon has reversed this decision.
Really because of us.
It was entirely because of us.
They heard our podcast
and they were like, "Oh shit! If we've lost alternate ending, what's even the point of any of this?"
Yeah.
And so they reversed course. So those of you who just want to love the show and pitch $1 or even 50 cents or
like 25 cents,
a penny a month.
Yeah.
For a penny a month, you will get
interest.
You will get our very, very shady praise on the air.
We're really excited about it because we did like Patreon, still do now. Obviously, with this change, this revert back to what they're doing. It is a great way for us to be able to publish all of that.
Rob already had a whole plan set out where he was going to like PayPal Patreon's back the money that they were charged. He had a whole plan. And now we don't have to do that, which is good. Added complexity.
So thank you for your continued patronage and patronage. Yeah, I guess that's
patronage is the real word.
Also want to thank all our listeners who support the show and make their Amazon purchases through our site. Doing is easy. Just go to that website, alternateending.com, click on our Amazon banner, and seamlessly go about your purchases. All proceeds go to making our show better. Since our last episode, had a lot of books purchased.
The Christmas season's upon us.
We had a couple volumes of The Paper Girls purchased, 1 through 3.
Have you heard of
that? Not familiar with that series?
Is it about girls made out of paper?
Maybe it's paper dolls. Maybe it's paper dolls.
Mm.
You think?
I don't know.
Okay.
Not familiar. The Private Eye, talking about film noir.
Could be talking about a lot of things.
Could be. Music. Every day is Christmas. The digital
Every day is Christmas.
Yes.
It is.
Why celebrate it just one time of year? Let's make every day Christmas. I love it. Love the enthusiasm. Also, had some Echoes purchased with improved sound, powered by Dolby. Best sound.
Like the Echo, like you can talk to it.
Echo's the thing. Yes. It's like
it's black. Hey Alexa.
Hey Alexa.
Yeah.
That's
it's the thing that spies on you.
Is that what it does?
It spies on you.
I'm okay with it.
They've totally confirmed that it now spies on you.
I'm okay with it.
Oh, good.
For convenience, I'm okay. Also had some toys and games. We had the Pandemic board game, which I've heard is
Pandemic
a lot of fun
is
for
real
a little
damn
grown-up board game.
Pandemic is an excellent game. Good purchase.
Is this a game I would like, or is it a game that only you guys would
Do
like?
you like enormously esoteric, hard-to-win board games?
I think you know the answer
You'd
to your
love
question.
it.
You do
Okay,
like
good.
Your new
Pandemics, though.
favorite thing.
I do like Pandemics.
So,
But if this is like Settlers of Catan, I'm out.
whoa, I'm so in love with you right now.
Really?
That you just pulled that out of
No,
nowhere.
I just said I don't want to play it.
I know, but the fact that
I
you knew the
know
title,
it. Yeah.
and then you don't like it.
This is a less intuitive, harder game to play than Settlers of Catan.
Okay. All right.
How do you not like Settlers of Catan?
I haven't actually played it. I just associate
don't
it with
thought you
really
remember
nerdy
that.
people.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
yes, obviously.
Yeah.
We also had AEG Love Letter. Apparently that's a toy or game, not familiar. And then a DVD, Black Xmas, the unrated version.
Ooh.
Sexy.
Tim, nothing to offer there? You've not seen the Black Xmas?
I assume this is Black Christmas, the 2006 remake of Black Christmas, whose unrated version, to be sure, is substantially better than its rated version.
Okay.
It has more blood and not more sexy, so I apologize for implying that you bought a porno, dear reader.
That's too bad. That's what I was hoping for. Well, when we get back, our spoiler alert for the Star Wars prequels. And welcome back to Alternating. We're talking about our spoiler alert for the Star Wars prequels. Kara, this is you were inaugurated, I guess not with the original trilogy into Star Wars. You had that with, what was your first Star Wars movie?
Rogue One.
That was your first Star Wars movie. That's
Yeah.
right. Saw the original trilogy. Now we're here with the prequels. Walk us through them.
Well, alrighty. That's abrupt.
So recreate, if you will, the unbearable social pressure of 1999's The Phantom Menace to be the best movie.
Yeah.
Remind us of those beautiful days, Carrie.
I did have high expectations and hopes because I thought you take a movie that's like the most loved movie at that time, probably, right? Most loved.
Most loved is hard to quantify, but awfully loved. Yeah.
Box
Awfully
office loved,
Box
certainly.
office loved. And then you're like, hey, I got to like carry that over and be amazing. But I've got all these extra skills now, this extra tools to make this movie better and more visually appealing. And that brings us to The Phantom Menace. No just Phantom Menace. 1999.
Yes.
The first one.
It maybe has a the.
It doesn't have a the?
It has a the.
Okay. The Phantom Menace. And I do promise for everybody that's listening, I'm a little bit mortified at my explanation of these movies from the last episode.
No, it was great. It was good content.
I don't know. I was really mad at myself. I feel like calling Yoda the green guy was probably rude to Yoda.
Is he a color that is not green?
I mean, he is, but I just feel bad about it.
Which do you think was more insulting? You calling Yoda that green guy, or George Lucas in dialogue in episode 3 referring to him as my little green friend?
I think the latter.
This is what I'm saying.
I think, okay.
what
So
I'm saying.
I'm going to go through
Feel
it much better this time.
All
So
right.
you tell me if I do better. So this is episode 1. We take it back to the beginning. This is before anything's ever started. The first Star Wars ever.
Well, I'll ask, like, were you curious how Darth Vader came to be? Because that's what this all sets up. Is that something that, leaving the first Star Wars trilogy, or the original trilogy, you were curious?
I think you're leaping ahead.
I'm leaping?
I think that is a question we can address after Carrie has given
Okay.
us her plot synopsis.
And I have
Let
that
her go
same
first.
question, so I'll ask you too. So this one is The Phantom Menace. It starts, it's written and directed by George Lucas, who's got to be really old, right? Because now he's jumping.
He's close to my parents' age, so not
20-some
super,
years
super
have
old.
passed since he did this, or he was really young.
Yeah,
then
it
when
had
he
been
did the
22
first
years
one.
since he directed Star Wars. He had not directed anything in the 22 years separating Star Wars from The Phantom Menace. He had produced a lot.
Okay. So I'll tell you what it's about. So if you've missed it, there's this evil group called the Trade Federation who wants to go out and take over the peaceful planet of Naboo. And there's these 2 Jedi warriors who are out there, played by Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor. I did that in the wrong order.
No, that's the right order.
Okay. Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon.
Damn it. Qui-Gon.
Queef-Gon? What's that?
Dang it. Qui-Gon is Liam Neeson.
Yes.
And that was unclear in the beginning to me. I was hoping he was Obi-Wan Kenobi, but whatever. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi is played by Ewan McGregor. Yep. And so they go out and they have to save the planet from these the Trade Federation.
They are the diplomatic ambassadors to try and come to a peaceful solution, which in the very, very beginning of
Yes.
the film goes to shit.
Right. And then they go out and they have to go out and warn the Queen Amidala, who is played by
Natalie Portman?
Natalie Portman, obviously.
Portman.
Or is
And
she?
You don't really know.
Played by Natalie Portman.
Because it trades over into this other queen who you're like, whoa, did her face change or is that Natalie Portman? You're unsure for a little bit.
Well, do you know who plays that other queen?
Yeah. That other one from Enemy at the Gates?
No.
No, who is it?
Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley. Isn't she in
Who
Enemy
looks
at the Gates?
exactly like Natalie Portman
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, so just to pause at this moment, I have not seen the Phantom Menace.
Right.
I've never seen it. And I was like, oh, maybe, like I was confused when later on when
It's confusing.
It's confusing. I'm like, oh, Natalie Portman is
What's
just
happening?
the handmaiden. And I was like, oh, maybe she becomes queen later. I always knew she was Queen Amidala or Padme or something. So I was like, oh, maybe there's something else. I didn't realize it was Keira Knightley. The resemblance between the two is
it's even
fascinating.
more confusing than that, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But
We'll get there. So they come in. You don't know what's going on there a little bit with Queen Amidala. What's her situation? Then they're forced to leave and they go to the desert on a planet called Tatooine.
Yes.
And which is where they meet a little boy, a young, very sweet, very cute little boy named Anakin Skywalker.
A boy whom nothing would ever expect bad to come of.
Exactly. He's super, super cute. Perfect casting for a little boy. He's apparently 9, even though he looks 5, which puts some of my concerns to rest that happen in the next movie, but whatever. So while there, they see Anakin, and then they take part in this really epic race, like pod race thing.
Yes.
So he takes on all these other people much older than him, and they're all like aliens and weird situations.
It's the only human who can.
He's the only
have-
human.
Only human who can pod race.
Pod
Right.
race.
And because of that, they deduce that he is probably a magical Jedi as well, or has like the possibility
He is
of becoming
strong
a passive
in the Force.
In the Force.
Yeah.
He's got a thing going on. And so they recruit him to come and help to become an apprentice of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And the gang then all goes up against Darth Maul to save the planet.
That's
Pretty
that's close enough, I think.
closer
Yeah,
than
you've
last
gotten-
week?
You've gotten
Closer?
a lot more than you got out of Star Wars, let's put it that way.
Okay, I feel better about it this week. So tell me the little pieces that I might have missed.
There's also a repulsive racist caricature frogman named Jar Jar
Forgot about
Binks.
him.
Jar Jar
Oh,
Binks.
is that the... No, that's the platypus man.
Platypus Man,
He is
Frogman.
literally the worst.
He is the
He is
worst.
the worst.
The worst.
He is actually the worst.
I don't
I
want to give
hated
away
him.
my ranking at this point, but I will say that, well, I guess this will give it away. Without Jar Jar Binks,
Platypus man. Yeah, just
Platypus
say
Man
platypus man.
could have been my favorite, probably.
Of the series?
Of the prequels.
Oh, because it is my favorite of the prequels.
It is your favorite.
Even with the Platypus Man.
Oh, Jar Jar really takes it down a notch. If it's
You know,
really
he's
just
terrible.
Jar Jar.
Over the last 20 years, like obviously in 99 when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, that's the worst character conceivable.
Yeah.
Because he is. When you rewatch it and you know that and you're like, oh God, I got to watch the Jar Jar Binks fuck up hour. He's in it less than you think.
It feels like he's
feels
in
like a lot, yeah.
Every time I watch it, he bothers me less.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
I will not watch
I have
this ever
somehow
again.
now seen this movie 5 times.
That's frightening. I will never watch it again, mostly because of him and several other things.
I'll
But
say
yeah.
the other thing that you
I
touched
miss?
on lightly is there seems to be a larger plot kind of developing, which I think we're introduced to. Do you?
There doesn't. There seems
I
to
wonder-
be a larger
I have-
plot because we know it's a Star
I wonder,
Wars.
and I wonder if that's because I know it or because it's there.
I think it's because you know it.
Yeah, but it's the
I mean, there's like the
Viceroys.
thing with Darth Sidious, and we're like, who
Right.
the hell is Darth Sidious? And we never find out who the hell Darth Sidious is. That's really left for the sequels.
That's right.
To the prequel.
But
Yeah.
you got Liam Neeson bringing it. I thought his performance was
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon. Natalie
Ewan
Portman.
McGregor, I thought was doing a great job.
Do you know who else is in this? You
Who
might
else?
not know.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Terrence Stamp.
He totally is.
He
And
plays
he's
the
in
Chancellor.
he's in like 45 seconds of the movie, and he's so good in that
He's so
45
good.
seconds.
Is he as good as he was in The Limey?
Well, no, because the Limey is great.
And he's in
expecting
it
you to
more
be
than
really
45
excited
seconds.
that I knew that.
And more
I
than
know
just
that you
the,
said-
oh shit, I lost my chancellorship.
Well, that's
Like,
the thing.
really
Like, the moment I was, because when I was rewatching it this time, the moment when Queen Amidala calls for a vote of no confidence, and Terrence Stamp just sort of like has this like pained look, like he's disappointed, but he's not actually surprised. That's such a good moment.
Yeah.
And it's really good. He's really good in this movie.
It's very good.
He's only in 45 seconds. But
That's
they're
okay. It was
45
really good.
good seconds.
Did you say Ian McDiarmid?
No one said Ian McDiarmid, but he's
That's
also
Senator Palpatine.
also really good.
I have so many questions about Senator Palpatine that I have to run by you guys.
Is part of the first movie or just overall?
I don't even know. Overall, is he the same person that's in the originals? His face is the same.
He is. So Ian McDiarmid played the Emperor. We all kind of knew this. We all understood, if we were fans, that Senator Palpatine was secretly the Emperor and was like plotting to overthrow the Republic. And one of the big problems I have with Phantom Menace is I don't know if we're supposed to know that.
I don't think you are.
I don't think you are, but at the same time...
It's hard to
not know.
Yeah.
And there's individual lines of dialogue that only make sense if you know that he is Darth Sidious.
Yeah, and I have trouble, as I know we wanted to go through the movies, and this applies to the series, I have trouble not knowing, and that knowledge...
Well, I don't know if we're supposed... That's the thing. I don't know what point in these three films George Lucas intended for us to be certain they were the same person.
Because if you know, a lot of the movie, all three... the dialogue and what's happening, it's like it's just hard to suspend your disbelief when you know. When you know what's...
I have the opposite experience. When I know some of the plotting that makes zero sense makes sense. Like the entire conflict of the Phantom Menace on its own terms makes no fucking sense. It's when you know that the whole time Palpatine is like orchestrating this to create a coup. It's bad. It's like overly complex for a movie about shooting people with laser guns. But it makes sense.
No, that part makes sense, but I still struggle. Did you know why there's a embargo or who's not happy? The title card with the tax, the people aren't happy with the taxes.
That's
who's unhappy? The Trade Federation? Is it Naboo?
The people of Naboo.
They're not happy.
They're not happy.
So they're not paying. So the Trade Federation
the taxes part gets dropped.
I guess, I have no idea why there's an embargo and what are they keeping from coming or going to Naboo. And for like there's a lot of
that part's all left in the ether. It's very, very, very confusing plotting.
I did get that someone is trying to pull a puppeteer is trying to orchestrate something larger in order to start conflict.
Sidious is basically just trying to cause mischief. And what throws me about the film in reference to itself is why Naboo, and that of course makes sense when we realize that Palpatine is the senator from Naboo, which
you don't find that out for a long time, though.
We find out that Palpatine's the senator from Naboo.
Or you don't find out that he's the emperor.
You don't find out that he's the emperor until potentially like when it happens.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what I don't get. I don't get the moment that we're supposed to know. Like I did know the whole time because I
don't think you actually find out till 3.
That's the thing. You don't find out until he gets zapped by force lightning and his face melts. And that's like halfway through 3.
Yeah. Or even more towards the end.
It's clumsy as shit.
Yeah.
No question.
It was weird. I guess I didn't realize that those characters were the same. So they just have a guy. So he was super aged in the original trilogy.
He's only like 35 when he's in Return of the Jedi. He's wearing makeup.
I was going to clarify. So it's the same person?
Actor.
That actually makes it more awesome, though.
That's pretty cool.
It makes it a little better. Because I noticed that butt chin anywhere. I was like, I know your face.
Butt chin, butt forehead.
I wish,
real big butt forehead.
He has a real big butt forehead. I wish they would have done him more. His the way that after his face gets zapped, we're jumping ahead to 3, but after his face gets zapped, he doesn't look as much like he does in the original series as he starts to look like Two-Face, more like from like Batman or something. He doesn't look as much like the guy.
I think one of the problems I have with the latter 2 films, and we can go into this in more detail, of course, they were shot on early generation digital cameras. Like George Lucas was really excited to be at the bleeding edge of technology with these films, so he wanted to do everything digital, everything on green screens, very much to the film's detriment, I would say. I think that part of the reason Phantom Menace is my favorite of the prequels, and that's new as of this reviewing. It always used to be Revenge of the Sith before now. But part of the reason I feel that way is because I do think they had to do more practically, and you can tell. And one of the things that I think having these digital cameras does in the case of all the makeup and stuff from the third movie, it makes it look too clear and too sharp. Yeah. And that feels like there's something about the sort of the filmic distance of seeing the Emperor's face in Return of the Jedi that's missing in Revenge of the Sith, very much to the film's detriment.
Yeah.
So highlights and lowlights for you, Care, for the Phantom Menace?
Yeah, I mean, I was coming off of the original 3 so quickly. I regretted seeing these, I think, so closely, which led to another question that I have, in which maybe we do or don't get to this now, but like the correct order in which to see these. I'm curious on your perspective.
That is a matter of substantial debate.
And I'm curious on your opinions, because for me, I did not like the order, I guess, in which I saw them, because I had higher expectations coming into these, and obviously they're not as good, and everybody knows that. But at the same time, too, I knew it was like spoiler. Like, I already knew everything that was going to happen.
That's the thing. Like, for me, watching them in production order is worth it solely for the fact that we don't learn who Yoda is until that wonderful scene in Empire Strikes Back, where it's all of a sudden this weird little Muppet dude is Yoda.
Yeah.
And you don't get that if you watch them in episode order.
And you know how powerful he is if you see these original ones, too.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that when we talk about Attack of the Clones. For me, this, like, anytime I watch anything, I'm more interested in seeing, like, how did this evolve over production time. So for me, watching them in production order is a no-brainer. Like, it would not even cross my mind to watch them in a different order.
guess the benefit is you don't know about Palpatine, but the drawback is you lose the Vader spoiler.
Yeah.
You know, of I am your father situation, and that's I would take that over.
Maybe.
Over knowing about
that's a good
Palpatine,
point, though.
you know?
That's a really good point.
And the other thing is, if you start with the prequels and get to the original trilogy, then you're trying to deal with the fact that the prequels are not good, and they are maybe not worth watching.
Yeah. Well, and here's another question: are there continuity issues that maybe I missed, and maybe they're fine, where they try to bring in all the characters that are come in the later episodes, like R2D2 and C3PO.
Yes.
And what's his face? Not Wookiee.
Chewbacca.
So is that a weird thing, like, that they introduced them? Like,
it's dumb, and they shouldn't have done it.
Yeah. Why did they do that?
It doesn't really create all that many continuity errors.
Because it's like we don't feel
so
like...
we know Anakin created C3PO, and that's fine because...
I don't think it's fine. I think it's stupid as shit, but it doesn't create problems. It's just stupid.
No,
I don't think
it's gifted to Leia's family, who adopts her, right? I mean, that's the assumption.
I mean, it fits, like,
but
all
you
the
don't
pieces
know
fit
that
together. But it's like having a 500-piece puzzle where all the pieces fit together, and at the end of it, you have a photograph of, like, a sparrow drowning in shit.
Yeah. Well,
like, it doesn't matter that the puzzle pieces fit because you just created this large shit pool.
That's what it felt like, a little bit of a shit pool. So but you don't know that Anakin created them in the original series. So that's supposed to be just sort of like something you find out later. Yeah. In the later ones, I don't know. I didn't like that. I didn't like how they tried to piece so many things together.
I think that it creates a lot of stupidity, especially around C-3PO. Also, you know, in episode 4, New Hope, Obi-Wan talks about, like, I knew your father when he was a pilot. We were together in the Clone Wars. And that creates, I think, expectations very much not fulfilled by what we see. Like, I knew your father when he was a fucking 9-year-old who was able to pilot a stupid little boat thing. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that the continuity is there, but it's, like, really labored.
Feels weird, yeah.
Unpleasant continuity.
Yeah, I guess I'd say the same.
Yeah, go ahead. Highlights, lowlights.
That being said, I actually like the Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
this was the viewing where I decided that I like the Phantom Menace. Apologies to everyone who just had a small heart attack.
Yeah, you're in the minority of I would say.
Totally. I mean, the thing is, like, Jar Jar sucks. The plot's too complicated. It is a beautiful movie. It is a beautiful movie with amazing editing, a great John Williams score. My favorite lightsaber battle. Easily my favorite lightsaber
Which
battle.
one?
The Duel of the Fates with Darth Maul and his two-bladed lightsaber.
Oh, yeah.
And Anakin, or not Anakin, Qui-Gon are on opposite sides.
Doesn't end well for Qui-Gon.
It does not end well for Qui-Gon, which is a stupid... See, that's another plot thing. Like, the protagonist of Episode 1 is Qui-Gon.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more.
And then the
of him.
protagonist of Episode 2 is a sort of weird hybrid of Obi-Wan and Anakin, and then there isn't a protagonist in Episode 3. It's just sort of kind of Obi-Wan, because who the hell else would it be?
Yeah, I was going to say it has to be Obi-Wan.
It has to be, but it kind of is because it has to be, not
Or what
because
about Samuel L. Jackson? Does he become a protagonist?
He doesn't have nearly enough screen time to be a protagonist.
Okay.
But anyway, so there's all of these strikes against the Phantom Menace, of course, but it looks beautiful. The sets are amazing. The visual effects mostly hold up. If you watch the Blu-ray version, which I don't usually recommend because it has all sorts of tarted up bullshit, they replaced Yoda the puppet, who was made in 1999, with a Yoda CGI effect, which ordinarily I would also not approve of, although the Yoda puppet looked like hell. So I was actually kind of glad that they replaced him. So all this being said, it gets the world built. It takes place in a really well-realized universe, and even though the story itself is not very interesting, what I look to these films for is that sense of, is there a universe? Is there like a world that this is happening that has a history and a sociology and an economy and all of these things? And this movie totally has that, and I feel good about that. Plus, I mean, John Williams John Williams is on fucking fire with the prequels, and it's almost not fair because of how good he makes
wasted.
them.
Yeah, Duel of the Fates.
Despite how kind of crappy they can be. But yeah, I mean, John Williams, I think pound for pound, I think the prequels have better scores than the originals.
And that's why, for me,
go for it.
I'm not too far off from you, Tim. I'm still figuring out my ranking, but it's really Jar Jar.
We're recording now, right?
Takes this down.
So you're
going
to have to say your ranking.
Yeah, I'll say it
Oh,
by the
okay.
time we're ready to reveal.
Can I go for the hotter? I take hot enough to scorch the sun down to the
Let's do
ground.
it.
This viewing made me decide that Phantom Menace is better than Force Awakens.
Wow, that is
Force
something.
Awakens is
Episode 7. You haven't seen it
episode
yet.
7 that I haven't seen yet. Right.
Maybe for me without Jar Jar. I really like this movie, except for
Jar Jar sucks.
Damn
And
Jar Jar.
Let's not pretend that Anakin doesn't also suck.
He's not a great. No, he's not a great. And we've had the discussion
But
on child
Anakin's
actors.
a small child.
Yeah.
He's
But
fine.
yeah,
Anakin at one point says "yippee" in a way that is annoying. He also at
you
one
mean
point
like because he's using a
says,
childlike voice?
"I will try spinning. That's a neat trick."
Because he's a kid.
It's the worst line of dialogue in the movie, though.
He's just
He's a very bad character.
for a kid
There are-
actor.
there are
he
kids
was
who are not
totally
bad
fine.
characters.
if Lucas
I don't
has
know.
struggles getting adults to directing adult actors, kid actors
That's the
is a
thing.
whole
Look
other.
at all of the actors in this movie who are great,
Yeah.
who suck.
Yeah.
Because Lucas is a bad director.
So kids are notoriously tough to
manage.
to manage and to get them to emote exactly. You need to direct them. Like you really need
He
to give them
rocked
guidance.
that little pod race. He had that down.
Oh, can we talk about the pod race?
Sure.
Yeah.
Is the pod race great?
Yeah.
The pod race is so fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know who makes it great? Little kid Anakin.
CGI artists make it great, I would say. Also, really good video game based on the pod race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard
An
that.
N64 racing game called Episode 1 Racer.
So we end the Phantom Menace with Qui-Gon now having left us.
Haven't been gored in the belly.
We now know there is the Sith.
Are we moving to Attack of the Clones
yeah,
right now?
that's what I'm
Is
trying
that what
to
you're
do.
doing?
I'm trying
Okay.
to move us there.
Okay.
We know something about the Sith now. The Sith have returned.
Sure.
Thought to be gone 1,000 years.
10 years have passed.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, wait, it's me
No,
again?
yeah.
Oh, crap.
Set us up.
Okay. So 10 years have passed, and the Galactic Republic is in the midst of a separatist movement situation. Okay, I'm glad you guys are nodding.
I have an Oreo in my
Oh,
mouth.
okay. Are they good, though?
They're really good.
I made cookies and Tim's eating them. So Queen Padme, or do we call her Queen Padme yet?
She's now Senator Padme.
Saturn?
Oh,
not yet.
So yeah, I was going to say we missed that part about.
Yeah, so there's that bizarre ass plot line where Natalie Portman is the queen, but most of the time the character identified as the queen is a decoy played by Keira Knightley, and it's confusing and stupid, and I think it only exists because George Lucas was like, holy shit, Keira Knightley looks like Natalie Portman, I can write a clone in.
Did we talk about that in the outtakes or something? I feel like I already talked about this.
No. Well, you and I talked about it like while we were watching
having
it,
deja vu
and how
right now.
confused I was, because I really had I knew for fact that Natalie Portman was Queen Amidala, but then I was like, oh, maybe there's something where she has to take the place of the
Why
queen.
does she have multiple names? What's Amidala versus Padme? Is one her street
I
name?
take it to be that Amidala is her regnal name and Padme is her given name.
Okay.
Sort of like how if you've seen the King's Speech, you know that Bertie was the name of the king given by his friends, but George VI was the name.
Is real. Okay,
So she does like a little, Prince in the Pot. She goes out to try to hang with and see things for herself.
Well,
and get a
she
little
wants
adventure.
to be safe from assassins.
Right.
And then there's the moment where she meets the big fat frog king played by Brian Blessed, who has like the best voice in the history of cinema. And she announces like she's the queen, and it's just such a stupid moment.
But does she become the senator in this movie?
Yes.
Okay, so she did
Because you can only be elected queen twice, because this is a world where you elect queens.
multiple
Because
times.
it's also
So she was
stupid.
elected at like the age of 2.
And then okay, all right, and then she.
Well, I got
I don't
the
know
impression that
how long
like
the terms
that
are.
teenagers are elected queen for like 2 terms and then become senator. I don't know. It's dumb.
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard not to screw up this plot line, and you guys keep ruining my flow.
You can't not screw up this plotline because
I
it's the plotline of
definitely
Attack of the
can.
Clones.
I definitely can screw
Go
it
for
up. So she goes out and she travels to vote on a project to create an army to protect the Republic or the good guys. And so, right?
Yep.
She
It's
does?
Yeah, she goes
This
out
is all
to
in
do
the
this.
crawl, man. This is all by the book stuff.
Yeah, hey,
I
man.
don't know that she does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Senator Amidala has to travel to Coruscant to vote on a Republic
Oh, to
of
vote.
the Army.
To
Yep.
vote.
So I just said
Okay.
the word vote. Yeah.
Okay.
So she goes out there, but they're really an army of stormtroopers, but you don't know that yet, right?
Well, the army's that's
They're not
But
really-
there is no army at this moment in time.
No.
They're
They're creating
voting,
them.
They're voting on something that the
No, but-
army is already
done.
pretty much done.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are bad guys, but they don't know that they're bad guys yet at this point. So there's an attempt on her life during this, and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin have to come back otherwise known as Annie. She calls him Annie. It's his nickname. It's a little weird. And so they're assigned to protect her. So then Obi-Wan is assigned to figure out who tried to kill Padme, and he does some detective work and finds out that it's somebody from the planet Kamino.
Yes.
Kamino?
Kamino.
Kamino. When he gets there...
Planet full of the unconvincing CGI sea.
Exactly.
It looks like fucking Mist in a movie released in theaters in 2002.
Sure.
Except worse than Mist.
Yes. So when he gets there, things seem a little unsettling with this giant army that is forming, and he sees that there's a bunch of clones being produced, and then Jango Fett is there.
Jango Fett is the donor who created the clones who are the army.
Who plays Jango Fett?
Tamara Morrison.
Nice.
Who's good.
Good pull.
Good
I
pull.
like him.
That was a good pull.
He's
So
a good Maori actor. I think he was in the Lord of the Rings films as well.
and he's a bad guy. And so on the side, Anakin's developing a little bit of a hankering for Padme. It's a little bit weird because you think he's only like 16.
That's the thing, like she's got to be like 10 years older than he is.
No, she for sure is. And like I said, I thought he was 5 or 6. And so I'm like, 15, 16, and she's 26, 27. It was super weird for me and distracting in the second one. I think it's super weird. So Anakin then has some dreams about his mom, that something bad's going to happen to her. And he's like, got to go out and figure out the situation there. Wait.
No, you're good.
You're good. That's
I'm
the
still
scary
good?
thing. You have so far remained right on track.
Well, I feel like
it sounds like you're spouting word salad, but you're right on track.
But I am? Okay.
This movie is shit.
What I think I missed, though, in something else was the fact that Anakin left at the end of the last one to become a Jedi. Like, he leaves his mom.
You hit
Did
that.
we talk about that? Okay.
We didn't talk about the fact that he has a mom. Her name
was
is
a slave.
Her name is Shmi, and she's
Shmi.
played by Pernia August,
Shmi, yes. Shmi Skywalker.
which is a bad name.
It is not great, but she has that name. So he goes out, and then she goes out, and then he goes to try and figure out what's the situation with her. Goes back and finds out that his mom has been abducted or like taken. Right?
She's been bought by a moisture farmer who fell in love with her, freed her, married her.
But then she gets
now
taken
she is
from
happy.
him.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, she was happy. She was good to go. And then she gets taken again
By the sand people.
by the sand people who are not on the good side. They're on a bit of the...
They're chaotic neutral.
Okay. But not
They're
like the
on nobody's
Wookiees.
side but their
Worse nice than the Wookiees.
They're violent.
They're more violent than the Wookiees.
They're probably less violent than the Wookiees, but they're violent against the heroes, which makes them seem more violent.
So then he finds her, and unfortunately she's dying. So he gets mad and he kills everybody, which is a little bit of foreshadowing for his temperament.
He is the
throughout
kind of
rest
person who will kill in anger.
Who will kill in anger
And
for
where
women
does
and
anger
children.
lead?
To the dark side.
Very good.
That's right.
Finally, like we've
got to do
missed
it.
our volleys and sets and everything before, but
And we're
we nailed
here.
it there.
Obi-Wan figures out who's behind the whole separatist movement and tries to pass on the info to Anakin, and has to do it through like ESP or the Force or something. He does that.
Who is in charge of the bad guys?
Is it Dooku?
It's Dooku.
Yeah.
There's a Count Dooku,
Count Poop.
played by the guy from Lord of the Rings, who's awesome.
Oh, I'm so
Christopher
sorry
Lee.
that's how you think of Christopher Lee.
Really?
He's Dracula.
Oh, I don't never. Nah.
He's great. He's Christopher Lee. He's great. He's in everything.
He's
the
in
best.
everything. He's
the
really,
best.
really good. And then there's a little side thing too that Anakin, the small child, and Padme, the pedophile, marries.
She is an ephebophile.
What's that mean?
Means she wants to fuck teenagers, not children.
Oh, okay. That makes it maybe better.
She kind of wanted to fuck him when he was a kid, though. You can totally tell.
Ew, no, not when he was 6. No.
Kind of did a little bit.
Yeah, you could,
She kind of was making
well, at least
bedroom eyes.
that's the way the movie set it up.
It's cut to make it seem like she's going to go back to her
Super
bunk thinking
weird.
about little 6-year-old Anakin.
Super weird.
She's 9.
So that's
She's
where we
9.
leave it. They get married, and then you're creeped out, and then it ends pretty soon.
And then it ends.
Yeah.
It's a good fight scene at the end.
Is there? Is that a good fight scene?
It's not a good fight. I like seeing Yoda kick ass.
Did you?
I did.
Did you?
Flipping
Here's the thing.
Flipping
Here's
and
the
flopping
thing.
around.
Here's the thing. He has the same exact fucking fight scene with the same exact choreography in episode 3 against the Emperor.
He does, yeah.
Now,
But I hadn't seen episode 3.
As a storyteller who has a narrative arc to write across 3 movies, you have Yoda, iconic character. We all love Yoda. He's Frank Oz. Yoda's great. You're going to show Yoda with a lightsaber. You know you're going to do this. Why do you not wait until the 3rd film when he fights the biggest bad guy, as opposed to this stupid, dumb fucking scene where he fights Chris Lee and it looks terrible because you have a CGI Muppet, an 80-year-old Chris Lee who turns into a CGI Muppet himself, like just spinning at each other.
Yeah.
I have very bad feelings about
No,
this movie.
it's a fair point because there is a a kind of top level bad guy, big boss,
Right.
but we don't know. But we don't know who the big good guy is.
Well,
really,
there is no big good guy.
Right.
There's many individual.
Is it Sam
good guys.
Jackson? Is it who's the best Jedi? Like who really? Like I don't.
Obi-Wan.
No,
Yoda.
No, Yoda.
Oh,
is who
yeah,
I
yeah,
think- I
Yoda
think
wins.
That's the
for
thing.
sure.
All I'm saying is you have a chance.
You've wasted it, yeah.
You're staging a Yoda
Yeah.
versus Emperor fight. You presumably know this. Why is I'm not even saying like don't stage Yoda. What I'm saying is like if you know you're staging the Yoda Empire fight, why not save that to be Yoda's coming out moment as an action hero? Like why does it make sense to put him at the end of the second movie doing that?
Good point.
And the worst of the three for sure.
This is the worst of the
Oh,
three.
for
films?
sure.
Okay, good.
Much so.
Yeah, we're on the same
Every
page.
Not
PowerPoint
everyone
transition,
thinks
I was
that.
like, please be over. And then it
PowerPoint
just
transition.
like kept continuing.
It
I
was
so
prior
mad.
to The Last Jedi. It was the longest Star Wars by 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Brutal. Just
And
brutal.
and introduces us
And
like
yeah.
every Star Wars film has some bad dialogue. Every Star Wars film has some very bad dialogue, for that matter. I think Attack of the Clones is the one where it goes from like charmingly dumb to really actively bad.
Yeah, this is soap opera at its worst between Anakin and Padme. Like any of the love dialogue, and that it continues into the third movie.
he had the mullet going on too.
Yeah,
I was
the-
like,
the
hey,
rat
lose
tail
the
mullet combo.
Ah.
That's
the
like
worst
that's-
of all
I'll
possible.
save him
worst.
that because that's like the Jedi look. So Obi-Wan had something
It's the
similar.
Jedi look because these movies were being made in the late 1990s, and shame.
Yeah.
So
shame on
bad.
you, George
No,
Lucas. But tell me, do you guys like sand?
I do like or sand. I mean, I don't like it when it gets in my pants.
I'd rather
in my
take.
cracks.
Do you think that sand is coarse and gets everywhere?
Yes, I do.
Because you
That's
know who
fine
else
for-
thinks that? Is Anakin Skywalker.
Why did he have sand in
He
places?
talks about sand. He's like, I don't like sand. It's
Oh,
gritty."
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like the worst line of dialogue.
It is. It's really
It's so
bad.
bad.
I
Yeah,
know.
and he's not great. Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christensen, I mean, I don't like making
feel-
fun of the
I
actors
feel
in these
bad.
movies because
I
they're
know.
clearly not being well directed. And in the case of Attack of the Clones, Lucas discovered a brand new toy, and fuck him forever for discovering this toy. He recorded the actors separately and green screened them together. So half the time,
What do you mean by that?
like he
the whole
recorded
movie?
each individual, not the whole movie, but at points the actors were not on set together. So Lucas could choose which take he liked best and just stick the actors together. So you have this poor fucking whatever 20-year-old Hayden Christensen, never been in a real movie before, now has to like act against a stick that's eventually going to have Natalie Portman's head photoshopped onto it. And like, of course he's not going to be good.
Yeah.
I think even if it was Natalie Portman, he still wouldn't have been good.
He would have been better.
And you
Actors need that kind of tactile
better,
feedback.
but not
I understand
good.
the arc that they're going for, but it's a very sharp move to go from sweet little Annie, who really had no dark force. He was just
little kid.
selfless. And then all of a sudden he's the opposite of what a Jedi, and it's starting to show those glimpses. And I don't get how we got to that point.
It would be so much better if they didn't have the Phantom Menace and started with a better Attack of the Clones. I think like that's just common sense at this point.
Yeah, because I don't get how we go from
No.
that young Annie to the Anakin that we're presented with in Attack of the Clones. It just his choices don't make any sense to me. But
No.
Yeah, I agreed. This is by far the worst of the three.
And any highlights for either one of you? Because I actually have one.
What is it? When it ended?
I want it. Well, no, but
Oh.
I mean, yes, because the thing that I like happens to be also at the end.
I don't mind I like the idea of holy shit. There's this whole secret army that's been built, and it's clones, and I don't mind the some of the political stuff of that. The clearly someone is pulling the strings of establishing conflict. Like someone just wants conflict, and I like that.
I don't dislike that, and I like Ian McDiarmid always.
Yeah.
No matter what, I think he's fun in these movies. The thing that I like, the love theme that John Williams composed for this movie, probably my favorite thing he's composed in the 21st century. It's really fucking
You mean the
beautiful.
music he plays when there's lovey things happening, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
It's called Across the Stars. It's very beautiful. It makes me feel emotions during Attack of the Clones, and I'm kind of resentful that I feel emotions, but I do.
A few people
Yeah.
have commented this on the site.
I want them to have beautiful gauze-covered PG-13 sex.
A few people have commented on this on the site is that if you could just mute the dialogue and let the movies, like an edit of the movie where that just plays out, where it's just the action, some of the action sequences, and then just
totally.
the music.
The prequel trilogy, I actually just mentioned this on Letterboxd on Sunday. The prequel trilogy, I think as a whole, if you watched it in a foreign language dub with subtitles, I think that might make them substantially better films.
You make such an excellent point, though, on I wonder how much more terrible these movies would have been without the music.
Oh God! First off, I think
I was emotionally drawn in by some of the things that were happening, despite being totally appalled.
I think every one of the Star Wars films, even the good ones, are significantly improved by the music.
Yeah.
I think that this is part of the reason I don't love the new ones, is because the music is much worse.
Well, and it's funny, the love dialogue in the original trilogy, you're right, it's meant to be kind of jokey and poke fun. Harrison Ford obviously does a good job.
I don't think there's anything meant to be jokey about. Well, I know.
Not that part, but the banter that they have.
Harrison Ford,
and in the original trilogy, and Carrie Fisher, Han Solo, and Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
I love their tension. Their tension is fun.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Harrison Ford is a good actor, and Hayden Christensen is not.
And they're age appropriate. This is weird.
By the time Attack of the Clones comes,
Christensen and Portman are age appropriate.
Right.
Is the
thing.
It
doesn't feel that way though.
Maybe
it's that I watched it too closely together.
It's either the dialogue or the execution of the dialogue where something is amiss. Where
they don't have chemistry. Hayden Christensen
chemistry.
Does not have smoldering glances. He just sort of stares at her.
I have no idea why Padme is interested in Hayden.
Because she's been thinking about him since he was 6 years old.
I guess, yeah.
And he's super powerful too.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But he gets there in the third. Anything else
He's
on
got a big lightsaber.
No,
Attack
I hated this one.
It's so bad, right? So we all agree it's the worst.
It's definitely the worst.
There are people who will tell you that Phantom Menace is the worst, and I don't know what to do with those people. Phantom Menace has the Duel of the Fates, and it has the pod race, and Attack of the Clones. It has a love fucking ballad, and even I'm not so much over the edge that I'm willing to say no, it has a good score, so it's a good movie. No,
I liked the first one, so
it's good to talk this through.
I'm compartmentalizing it into of the three. I like this movie for the first one, so if I compartmentalize it, but I think I like the first one because it's fun to have the origin of the little kid.
Sure.
I think that's a fun thing.
So we get to the third.
The third, The Revenge of the Sith, which came out in 2005. It's been a while. And so this kicks off 3 years after the Clone Wars have started.
Yes.
Okay? And the Republic and Jedi are taking on Count Dooku.
Yep.
Right?
Good old Count Poop.
Leads the Separatists, right?
Yeah, and the Separatists, yeah. And
still played by a very unconvincing CGI effect when he breaks out his lightsaber.
Also true. The Chancellor has been captured, who you still think's a good guy. The Chancellor, don't be confused if you've never seen these, is also the Emperor. Okay?
Yes.
Also is the guy with the butt chin that we talked about earlier.
So has he in fact been kidnapped, or has he staged it?
You don't know.
We do by the end.
I mean, you do, but you don't know right now.
Such
you don't
an
know at the beginning.
unconvincing staging, too.
I know.
Just kind of sitting there.
Is he even bound, or is he literally just sitting on a chair?
We're doing the thing again where you guys are cutting me off of the plot.
I know, but he just doesn't seem threatened at all. It just bothers me so much.
Go ahead.
So then the Chancellor is captured. And so Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin have to go and save him from General Grievous. And Anakin unhands...
well done. Good pun.
Count Dooku.
I like it.
Thank you. I actually came up with that himself. So after this, Anakin finds out that Padme is expecting a baby with him. And so he almost immediately starts having these visions of her dying during childbirth or near after or something like that, which really freaks him out. And he goes a little bit off the rails on that. And so Anakin wants more power, and he wants to be promoted to a Master Jedi. He's still a Padawan.
He is a Padawan.
Padawan. And, that was good that I pulled that out there. Hang on one second. I've lost my train of thought. So he wants more power. He wants to be a Master Jedi. And when he doesn't get that, he starts to look for other ways to get more power. So Palpatine starts to manipulate him and promise that if he were to join him, he would have unlimited power.
Unlimited power!
Exactly that.
It's a good line and a good line reading.
His face is so disturbing in that situation. I wanted to turn it off, but I didn't.
It's a lot of face.
Not to me. I mean, to me, it's endearing. And it's why wouldn't I trust this guy? This makes sense with everything you're saying and the way you're saying it.
Let me follow you. It's not creepy at all. Yeah, I would follow that face. And so he wants that unlimited power that Tim referred to a second ago.
I think even Palpatine's surprised that Anakin's dumb
enough.
He's wait. I just told you I'm a Sith. And you want to keep...
You're not
okay,
I mean... Okay, sure, yeah.
Shit, this kid's dumb.
As long as he's powerful, he could be a little bit... You want him a little bit dumb. And so he tells him that with this power, he'll be able to save Padme, which is Anakin's main priority. So then, first he turns him down. He's like, no, I could definitely never be a bad guy. I could never do that. But then 10 minutes later, he decides, nope, I'm going to go rogue, and I'm going to start killing everybody I can find, including a bunch of kids in a small room, which is really bad.
It's pretty bad.
It's too far.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Like a real
what's
jerk.
Not really bad is is Ewan McGregor's line reading when he discovers that Anakin has killed the younglings.
Yeah.
Because you can totally see he has to clamp his mouth over his hand over his mouth to prevent from laughing. It's pretty fucking good. You should check it out on YouTube.
I'm going to rewatch it.
Go to YouTube, look for just killing younglings. You'll get there. Ewan McGregor totally is trying not to laugh.
I feel like that would have also been you. You're probably like, this is actually what I liked most about this movie was the younglings when they were killed. But in my case, not a fan. Padme is pissed about this. And she's like, I don't want to do anything with you. Like, how could you do all these things?
Because Anakin is breaking her heart.
She goes, you're breaking my heart, Annie. You know, and that was very sad, very touching moment. And then this is where we see the reveal of Darth Vader. And then the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, who has many names, apparently. So we've got the Darth Lord. Well, he's got the Emperor. He's also the Chancellor.
Supreme
He's also
Chancellor.
the Senator.
Well, he's not a senator anymore.
He went from being senator to chancellor to emperor, so he's never two of those things at once.
And then he's also the Darth Lord Sith Sidious. Darth Sidious.
So he is Darth Sidious and Chancellor Palpatine. So he just has the two names. That's what I'm saying.
It's more names than you need.
Well, sure.
And so then that's where this one ends. You figure out how Darth Vader is created, and here we are.
And you also recognize the importance of the high ground in a sword fight at this point.
Is that a Yoda joke?
No, it's Obi-Wan has the high ground.
Claims to have the high ground, and therefore has won.
Anakin is in the lava, like floating on like a tiny little piece, and he thinks he can still win, he'd be victorious, and Obi-Wan is sitting high up top, and he says, "Hey, I have the high ground. Just give up. Just it's over."
Yeah, and
he still decides to jump. I still don't see why having the high ground is an advantage, but yes,
because when you can fly, it doesn't matter.
But
can we just,
I'll let it go.
This movie actually might have the worst dialogue. I mean, like,
absolutely.
Clearly something like an Ed Wood film has objectively worse dialogue, but this is a movie that cost tens of millions of dollars and made hundreds of millions of dollars. And I don't even want to go through a laundry list of the lines of dialogue because we'll just be here for the next 2 hours. But Jesus, the dialogue in this movie is bad.
Yeah. I can't. You didn't notice it? And for me, it's the romantic dialogue is double. Like they double down on it.
Oh no! See, I was
hold me like you did by the lake on Naboo.
Right. See, no, I was much more fine with this because now that he's got his mullet's thin, filled out, he's a little bit bulkier. I definitely feel like now I can buy the relationship between two of them, and that actually was an upside for me.
Cannot buy in just how dumb he is, and also the rest of the senators applauding the senator.
Who? That Anakin's
or the chancellor.
dumb?
Yeah, he's stupid. I mean, it's so obvious.
Well,
what's
so how
going
old
on.
is he now?
That's why I'm saying it's hard for me to remove myself from knowing he's the emperor. No, I'm just saying even if I didn't know he was the emperor, this guy is clearly a bad guy. Like,
sure.
It's not like he's pulling out.
Put yourself in his
tricks.
shoes. What happens if you saw visions of me just dying? What would you do? Would you let the world die, or would you save me?
Let the world die.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. I wouldn't. I'd rather.
No, you totally would.
Greater good.
I need to ask, because this dialogue is so good.
Yeah.
Because you feel good about the dialogue.
Yeah.
Carrie, would you like to engage in a dramatic reading of some Star Wars dialogue?
Are you going to be Padme or Anakin?
Who would you like to be?
I think I'd like to be Anakin.
Okay, then I'll be Padme.
Okay.
It's only because I'm so in love.
No. Haha. No. It's because I'm so in love with you.
So love has blinded you.
Haha. Well, that's not exactly what I meant.
But it's probably true. Rob is pulling at Ewan McGregor right now, for the record.
Oh, wow.
What is not the worst about that?
So it's a little cheesy. There's a little cheesy.
You could open a fucking cheese shop with that.
And it's throughout the whole thing.
It's
and that's
it
really
is
romantic.
cheesy.
And that's
It's
just
cheesy.
romantic.
That's just romantic. It also has the
I
worst
needed
Yoda
this,
line.
though. I needed all of this after the first
It has,
two.
not if anything about it to say, not if anything to say about it I have, which is like so bad.
The Yoda line?
The Yoda
So,
line.
yeah.
Dialogue's terrible. Dialogue's just fucking terrible.
But you were the chosen one.
Is that from this movie?
Yeah, that is, in context, that is a distinguished line. It
says
sounds
that
like something
one?
a person might say.
Yeah, it actually sounds good saying
Is
it.
that
Ewan
Obi?
McGregor. It's an
Obi.
Obi,
Yeah.
Obi line. Oh, this has been like cathartic to talk a little bit about this. One problem I have in general, and just understanding the universe, Tim, maybe you know this, Carrie, you might know as well now, having seen all these. We're led to believe the opposite of a Jedi is is the Sith? Are they on? They're opposites.
I think
they're
that's what
contrasting things. But the Jedi is meant to be kind of neutral about everything. Buddhist.
Yes.
Is the Sith really the opposite of
the
neutrality?
idea? I think is supposed to be that the Jedi are all about control and neutrality. The Sith are all about extremes of emotion.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, give whatever meager sliver of credit to Attack of the Clones. It does present the idea that love is a bad emotion, not because it is negative or destructive, but because it is strong. So the sequels do make the argument that what is objectionable to the Jedi is strong emotion, not negative emotion.
And that's why I have trouble because it's not good or evil. It's emotion or emotionless.
So what you're saying is you want to see a Sith who's just like super happy and has love with everybody.
Yeah, manic. Just very manic all the time about everything.
Maybe.
That would be much more interesting than just about any Star Wars film.
It's just I have trouble balancing the good and evil side because you could say that the Jedi, you could be.
It's good and evil because this is fundamentally a binary Manichaean system for children's movies.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out how to become a superior Jedi, and it's really being like roll with it, like you roll with everything.
It's very Zen Buddhist.
Yeah,
it's very Zen Buddhist.
So
I think you should be that way.
I'd like to.
I'm
more of a
You're a
Sith.
Sith.
I'm
Rob's
totally
a
a
Sith
Sith
for sure.
Yeah.
Are you a Sith?
I
You're
imagine so.
definitely
I'm a
you're a
grad
Jedi.
student.
I feel like you're kind of go with the flow. When we were like, hey, we're going to be like 3 hours late because our Santa visit today ran long. You're like, sure, sounds good.
Oh, well, you weren't in the room when I got that text.
Would you swear?
I swore.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I feel really bad.
No,
about being late.
it all figured out. I just had paper due, but I got
Sorry.
it. But yeah, so Revenge of the Sith. So can I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
I mean,
I like it the most.
The dialogue is, I used to. I think I like Phantom Menace better at this point. It is, again, with the world building. I know that's kind of the thing I talk about with these movies, but that's because they're really good at it. All those planets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Water Planet. There's Wookiee Tree Planet. There's like planet with the cave that Ewan McGregor rides his feathered lizard horse through.
Oh,
I like feathered lizard horse.
I do too.
I think General Grievous doesn't make any sense at all as a character unless you've seen the cartoon Clone Wars from 2002, which you should because it's great.
Hey, he kind of comes in out of nowhere with a breathing problem.
Right.
Don't know what that's about.
I mean, you don't. And it's all presented in the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars cartoon, which is probably the second or third best thing that's ever had Star Wars branding put upon it. So you should check them out. Disney has tried to like disappear them with their shitty CGI Clone Wars cartoon. But the original Clone Wars is fantastic. But I mean, Grievous is so cool looking, and he turns into like an airplane situation with the lightsabers. So like it does what I want it to do as pulp sci-fi. Mm-hmm. It does it very well.
I thought it was a mix too of some of the visuals in the other ones were over the top. This one was sort of just like less over the top. It felt like what I was more expecting from like a cinematography standpoint. I don't know. Even if it was cheesy, this one was the least annoying.
And the other thing that I do want to just, again, with the things I always talk about, John Williams, end of the movie, bringing motifs from all 6 Star Wars films, creating this beautiful 10-minute suite that sort of is like the acoustic finale of Star Wars. Totally works for me. I mean, he's playing me so obviously, but it works. That final shot where like the Obi-Wan motif that was in the original movie at the sunset, and then we see the sunset again. Like, it's like, it works. I am very invested in the last 10 minutes of Revenge of the Sith.
Care?
I hate to say it.
What about you? So now rank order?
Rank order.
Unless you have anything else on Sith?
Is probably 3, 1, 2.
I was 3, 1, 2 pretty much all along, but literally this week I think I might be 1, 3, 2.
I just can't break apart 1 and 3. Just they both, one has Jar Jar takes it down.
Yeah, he does.
And I have trouble.
2, 3, 1.
It's 1, 3 very close, 1, 3, and then I can't.
No, 2 is shit. 2 is a shitty movie with nothing to redeem it except for the score. The weird thing about 1 for me, 1 has higher highs than 3. Yes. It has lower lows.
Yep.
Like 3 has nothing as good as the pod race. It has nothing as good as the lightsaber scene.
And you'll take the higher highs as being advantageous. They have more high highs.
This time around.
Yeah.
This time around.
And
maybe
Rob and I were
around
talking about overall, who is the most powerful? I'm going to throw that question out because I said it to Rob because I was confused by now watching these 3 versus the original series on who's the most powerful of all. Who would you say?
The love that is shared between Anakin and Padme. I think
don't believe you.
The prequel trilogy argues that it is Darth Vader.
Okay.
I do not know if it does so successfully.
That's what I'm wondering.
The prequel trilogy.
In dialogue, explicitly.
In dialogue, absolutely in dialogue. I will say in action, I will say it's Mace Windu.
Wait, who's Mace Windu?
Samuel Jackson.
Because he actually
he dies really quickly.
But he dies because Anakin.
Beautifully.
No, but the Emperor is able to easily shock his face with.
No.
That's the thing. The Emperor fails to shock his face.
Mace is about to.
Mace is a breath away from killing the Emperor.
Wait, but without his wand, what's it called
lightsaber?
again? Without his lightsaber, the Emperor shocks his face and he flies out of the window.
The only reason he loses his lightsaber is because Anakin chops his fucking arm off.
Well, I know that's true, but I'm saying no lightsaber aside, you're just fighting each other. Who would win, the Emperor?
If you don't have lightsabers, I assume it's whoever has the great big spaceship that they can just land on you.
Yeah. I don't know though.
I'm going to go with Yoda.
Yeah,
I think.
You think Yoda's more powerful than the Emperor?
But I just from a sword fighting perspective, Mace was the only one who was able to actually defeat the Emperor in a lightsaber battle.
Well, then here's where I got confused about it. In the actual original series, I feel like Darth Vader was so easily able to defeat the Emperor and kill him that I was like, wait, I thought you were supposed to be all powerful.
It's the same thing. If you're not expecting Darth Vader to come along and throw you down a fucking air shaft.
Anakin's kind of an asshole.
Anakin's a dick.
Yeah.
He's just a dick.
Yeah. Kind of looks like one, like an actual
pick a
shape,
side,
too.
dude.
Yeah.
Pick a side.
Yeah, I don't know.
So much emotion, that one.
So just to clarify, so absolutely everybody puts all three prequels behind all three originals. Is that?
Yeah. I was a little nervous for you, Carrie. It's been a while for me, but after rewatching them, I was
I don't have very much taste, but in this case, I can't put any of these above the original.
I thought you might. You seemed very down on the first one.
I was, but I'll be more curious to see the new one.
Sure.
The newest one that's coming out, and then also I need to rewatch Rogue One because I enjoyed Rogue One.
And you have Force Awakens.
And I have Force Awakens.
So
I think the newest ones might do something for me.
So you think we should cancel our vacation, get back together on Christmas Day to record another spoiler alert for the new movies? The Disney movies. Okay.
No, I don't feel that way, but I'll let you know how I feel about them when I see them.
All right.
Well, every week we also ask our audience to share their thoughts for a chance to win a free Amazon movie rental. Based on the results of your submissions, we picked one lucky winner, and that is Grant Hagee, who wrote in with a couple of different thoughts. I'll pick one of them here. Here we go. In Return of the Jedi, the Emperor didn't have one and even rendered or referred to them as Jedi weapons. Instead, every prequel has had a lightsaber dual climax. I liked the first one, though it had odd moments like Maul just standing there while Obi-Wan cut him in half. The second one would have been better with the Tasmanian Devil sound effects. And the third was just overblown mess, suddenly got strategic at the end. Meaning, we have a lot of everything ends in a climax with a lightsaber duel.
Yep.
And it would be nice to maybe have a little bit of something different, or have the lightsaber duels be unique enough. Amongst themselves, like you said.
I feel like they more or less are. If you look across the first 7 films, each one of the lightsaber duels is doing something different. I won't say anything about the 8th film other than that it certainly does something different.
And Grant specifies, so just not having the Sith also have lightsabers. It would just be nice that there'd be something else present.
Sure.
So it'll be, I'm interested to see if the new films bring anything to the table. Grant, shoot us an email at contact@alternateending.com for details on how to claim your free movie rental. If you want to win a free movie like Grant, be on the lookout for a spoiler alert or top 5 movie posts on Facebook and Twitter to share your favorite picks. In closing, thanks everyone for listening. It's been a great year. Still check us out on...
Not that 2017's been terribly happy for most of us, but happy New Year, happy 2017 to everyone for listening. You've made it a good year for us.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate everything that. You've done, all the listens, and we're not going away. The Alternate Ending will still be having new reviews coming up.
I'm going to try to even write more. The school year is just about wrapped up, so I'm going to try to go from 1 review every 3 days to 3 reviews every 1 day. See how long I can sustain that.
So keep going out to our social media. Go out to our Facebook page, like it. We're tweeting, alternateending.com for access to all the blogs, reviews, podcasts, and more. Subscribe to our podcast. It's a good time to catch up on our podcast, too, if you've missed a few episodes.
Don't listen to the last one.
Let's just, as our final year-end gesture, what's everyone's favorite podcast we've recorded? Probably shouldn't have just sprung that. I should have been like, you guys, we should totally end the episode this way.
The one I'm most proud of is Alien. And it's a spoiler, which tends to, those don't tend to be our biggest listened ones.
Alien,
but I really liked how everybody brought something. It was just a really great organic discussion.
What's the one where Rob wasn't on with us?
That was a really good one.
Yeah. What was that?
Just 2 weeks ago. It shouldn't be that hard to remember it.
Do you remember which one you missed?
I don't remember the one that I didn't attend.
I don't know. That one.
That's the one.
No, I'm just kidding. We missed you. I don't know.
missed you a lot. You do a lot. You
Giants.
push those buttons.
I like the Giants episode.
Those button needs to be pushed.
Well, we'll see all of you back in 2018. Oh, Carrie, you have something else? What do you have?
What's that?
You have a review?
I have a review.
All right,
Is that what you were going to say?
No, I didn't know.
Oh, no, I had a review.
All right, what do you got?
I'll try to be quick. It's a long review and a very nice review, but I'm going to be really fast, I promise. So this is Sting the King's first-ish podcast. And so first because I think we were one of his firsts that he listened to.
Always nice to be someone's first.
I'm going to paraphrase all of this, so I really apologize. So he came over with Tim MA's readership and transplanted over and was like, oh, I'm going to listen. He was like not really into film podcasts because he thought it was like a bunch of dudes in a room that like had the same opinions or that they would fight and whatever. And that wasn't really his thing. And so, anyway, he knew Tim would be able to supply him with an amount of intellectual and insightful film commentary.
Well, thank you. I hope you don't feel too put out that I referred to Count Poo Poo today.
He reliably supplies him with every week. And he said interacting with husband and wife, Robert and Carrie Jarasinski. And he said what he didn't expect, with all due respect to Brayton, who remains his favorite or one of his favorite voices in criticism of all time, is that he continues to listen because of me.
Oh,
I know. And Rob.
Yep.
Yeah,
he didn't say
Carrie and
he
Tim,
meant me.
the poles around which this podcast revolves.
He meant just me, but he like didn't want to like break it out like that in an offensive way. And so he just said there's something about the podcast. I think the fact that it's casual and the fact that like people aren't picking at each other and fighting and jousting the entire time is a benefit. He said that you have some chops, you know,
all right,
talking about movies, which is good, and that it's fun and rewarding, I think, for him too, and that the chemistry is good.
It is.
It's a thing that we have.
We have some good
and that it's great stuff. So really, really, really appreciate
thank you
the
for
reviews.
That. Good way to close out 2017. Everybody have a great New Year. Happy holidays. We'll catch you. We'll catch you soon.
Check us out in January. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.